Hello and welcome back to the show. Glad you made it. It's another so production. We're doing it again. It's September the 6th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Boys and girls, wherever you're tuning in from, if it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? The up close and personal videos. These close, oh, look how close we are to get, touching, but like not touching, but very close. Hello again. September the 6th, 2024, of course, a Friday. Thank you for joining me wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, down south in the United States, further down south, Mexico, South America, over there in Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, the Koreas, Vietnam, Senegal, Singapore, Vietnam, back again, over there in Taipei, over there and all around the world, underwater, overwater, hovering, sitting, standing, leaning, laying flat on your back, in a fetal position, I don't know what you're doing, giving birth, squatting, in a bathtub, in a hot tub, giving birth to your water baby. Shout out to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Let's get a sip of this bad boy because it's ready to be sipped. The sippy sip. Welcome back. Once again, bringing the connections much closer than you'd ever expect them to be. Insane how close the connections are. And by the way, again, if it's your first time, where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there. Subscribe on the YouTube channel for you to get those reminders so you can watch them in full-length videos because they're full-length on this. That's what it is. And check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you like to fiscally, financially support this show. But it is Friday. It's the 6th and September's here, baby. I can see it already. The fall is, this is when things start, the out with the old and when with the new. The new is the cycles of life. Let's get right into it. Let's, I'll say this, that there's beautiful, wonderful events happening today. I don't know which direction we're going to go in, of course. We're just going to shoot the shits as we tend to, see where it takes us. But I'll start off with this. I will say this. I just read, this is incredible news. It's a great story. We've all been waiting for, it's earth-shattering news is what it is. Groundbreaking news. Transparent food dye. Transparent food dye, ladies and gentlemen, for the individuals who are wondering if there's anything that we could. Did you ever ask yourself, you're like, man, I like my skin tone. I like the fact that I've got flesh on these muscles. I like the fact that you can't see inside me, but also I wish you knew what was inside me. I wish there was a way I could show you what's inside me, but I can't. And that was up until very recent. But recently, discoveries have been made. Scientists, researchers, they've butted heads. They've gone down into the labs underground. They've taken off their lab coats, which, by the way, they're not dressed underneath the lab coats. A little bit questionable, but I like it, and I know you do too. Is anybody shaving? Probably not, because that's what scientists are known for, not maintaining their pubic regions and also doing great work. But nonetheless, they were in their labs and they were asking the same questions you and I were asking. Is there a way to create the invisible man or woman? And yes, there is. Not quite invisible, but we're getting there. And this is fantastic because after all, they did a lot of research. Apparently there's an ingredient, if I'm not mistaken, it's found in Doritos chips. So, or again, I might be mistaken, it might not be, don't take my word for anything, but do your own research is what I'm trying to tell you. But apparently there is a food dye that is a component of potentially Dorito chips out there. If you isolate this bad boy and you rub it on yourself, which is what they did, not on humans at least, they've not done this on humans, I should say this. We're on the early stages of research, but they've been rubbing it on mice. They've taken hairy mice, shaved their nuts, shaved their bellies, shaved their heads, the lab rats. And you can do whatever you want with these lab rats, because that's what they're made for you and I to enjoy. And also feed to our, if you've got a pet snake, which I don't, I'm not a fan myself, but whatever floats your boat, whatever keeps you level, if the snake is what's keeping you going and your daily, then, I don't fucks with it, but like, okay. But I will say this, these beautiful scientists, which are naked underneath their lab coats, they took these mice, they shaved them down, and they found that if they rub this component, this food dye, on their skin, after a little while, they'll be able to see through the skin and see what's underneath the skin. They can see, the arteries, they can see the muscles, they can see through everything, which is incredible. Now, this, of course, has its scientific benefits, ladies and gentlemen. If you were like, oh, I wonder what's underneath my, if you wanted to, the beauty of this is it's not just like the scientific aspects of it is like, I got a backache. I don't know what it is. Maybe rub a little bit of this ointment on yourself. See underneath your skin. Maybe you got a tumor in your back, man. I need to get it taken care of. Though before rubbing this invisibility food dye, you'd have to cut yourself open. Because you don't have health insurance. I know I don't have health insurance. And if I wanted to cut something open, I had to get my own hands dirty in there. So that it'd be very difficult. Trying to operate on yourself from behind. If I had to cut myself open, and if I get shoved into a corner, and if push comes to shove and I got to do surgery on myself, although I'm not a registered doctor in the Western medicine sense of things, I will get my hands dirty and I will cut myself open. It will hurt, but I will, precision is key, and also going fast, and also just like doing it, following through. It's very, doing surgery, they say, is actually remarkably close to golf or swinging in golf. A bunch of swinging golfers out there, they say follow through is like half the battle in golf. I've heard that before. Maybe it was 25%, or maybe I forget the percentage, but it's like at least 75% of the battle. So follow through, and I will do the same when it comes to surgery on my own. I will cut it open, see what's in there, and if there's nothing in there, well, we're just bleeding in the back now, aren't we? I'll sew myself back up to, which is extremely difficult. But guess what? I wouldn't have had to do that if I had some of this invisibility food dye, because I could just rub it on my back and have a closer look, see if there is a tumor, see if there is a rabbit, see if there is a little, there's a little crab just fucking laying eggs in my spinals. Whatever the case may be, that was not available to us. Now it's still not available. It's only the mice get the benefits of this shit right now, but soon enough, we will be able to bring it out, roll it onto the public, and see people essentially go wild. Because imagine how exciting would biology class be when they bring a pig, a live pig, and you get to play with it in your side, and then rub some invisible food dye on its belly and see its digestive tract work. And then guess what? Not enough funding for you to get a pig in your science labs? That's okay. Get the food dye, rub it on your own belly, and have some food. Eat a cheeseburger, eat a whole cheese, just open up your gaping face hole, shove a cheeseburger in your throat, swallow it like a snake swallows a baby deer when it's hunting for food. Swallow it whole and watch it go down your digestive tract into your stomach. Rub it all over yourself, actually. Essentially, what we'd like to see is for the whole burger to go down your throat, your jugular, work its way into the large and then small intestine, and then small or smaller, and then so I don't know the order of things, to be honest. I forget. Is it the large one first and the small one, or is it? Well, they say this. Ironically, the small one's the bigger one, and then the large one is just like, it doesn't matter. You pass them through your digestive tract, and you watch that burger just like, sit on a little raft and paddle its way out your tube. So all I'm saying is, imagine your first date, you could just be like, well, I like being transparent, baby. I like to lay it all out on the table. There's no higher level of transparency than sitting down in front of your date, rubbing each other down with some invisibility, food dye, on your face, everywhere, rub it on your tits, lady, rub it on your chest, fella. Move it all the way down. See how the piping's working. You know what I mean? Because you never know. You never know. And it's good that it's for ladies too. It's essentially, because it's always like, oh, I might have a cyst in my ovaries. Before, you had to send some creep doctor with a binocular elbow deep in your vag, and be like, oh, I see a couple of bumps, they may be cysts, and he's in there with a tweezer squeezing your cyst, and you're like, get off my cyst, doc. And he's like, I could burst it for you now, or I could come out and go back in with a tiny laser. And you're like, oh, you're already in there knee deep in my vag. Why don't you just take the laser in with you, or just take a tweezer? You're squeezing my cyst sac, and it's oozing and pussing, and it hurts. And you're not even sure if it's your oozing cyst or just the fact that he's knee deep in your ovaries right now. Nonetheless, you did not have to resort to this. Had you been privileged enough to have some invisibility food dye to rub over your belly and be like, oh yes, of course, that's perfect. It lines up with the mole on the outside. What are the odds? What are the odds? But you could have done that if you had that invisibility food dye. You don't yet. Again, it's for the animals. It's been tested. We are testing it. I would like to, I would like to just find me a couple of bald fellas and rub it on their head and just watch their brains just fire some synapses, if you know what I mean. Just input output. I want to see that. I want to see a couple of ladies who are just going through a punk rock phase, just shaved heads, rub it on their head and just watch some sparks fly. I want to see some chemotherapy patients having fun with this shit. You know what I mean? Get out there and rub it on your forehead and your head and just freak people out. Look at my brain. Get a laugh. But also scare your grandparents if you're like, oh, I'm in my, I'm battling chemo, but like, check this out. Look at my brain, Granny. Granny's having a heart attack. Oh man. Things could go south easily with this, of course. So, with great power does come great response. I would like to see oh my God, a see-through tits. Ha! See-through tits, fam. We didn't even think about that until you thought about it right now together. So there you go. Did you like tits? Who exactly? Did you always envision what they look like on the inside? Exactly. Now you get to have a close look to see what is behind the curtain where the magic happens on the surface. You get to see it all. Oh man, and if your lady's lactating, you can rub it on her tits and then push the baby face first, just aside for a second, baby. Suckle on them tits. See the milk. Where does it even come from? How do you even get a milk factory in you? But now you get to see once again, peeling the curtain back, the wizard is in there just cranking out milk, just fucking cranking out the milk. Pump it, is what we say. So that's really incredible news. I'm excited. What other applications could invisibility dye have? If you are, a lot of people like to dress up because they're like, I don't know what am I gonna wear? I don't know how I feel about this outfit. This doesn't conceal you, in a sense. We're not at full invisibility, but if you apply more, you could go fully, you could potentially go full invisible. And if you're like, I don't want to get dressed today, neck down, apply the ointment all over your body. You could be walking around naked and nobody's going to see a thing. You'll just see a floating head. And you can go about your business. You know how much money you'd save on clothing items if you're not actually putting on clothing? Because they could, you'd get some and then they'd, after some time, all clothing items do fall apart. So you got to replace it. So if you just apply this invisibility dye on your body, you're good to go. Or if you're shy, if you're like, I gotta do a presentation, but I wish I wouldn't have to be seen, just rub it all over yourself, even cover the head. Who cares, as long as they see, or hear rather, the verbiage coming out of your mouth. It's, there you go. Or let's say you're on oh man, this could have great, oh man, we could sell this to the army, fam. We could do army business, fam. You know me, oh man, we could be selling this to the army. Because this, forget camouflage. You could have SEALs, like the animals, and then have Navy SEALs right beside. The animal SEALs would not be able to recognize that there is a human Navy SEAL right beside them. Right as the animal SEALs are the giant, beautiful, made of large seal. They're climbing on each other's backs on a little rock in the middle of God knows where, and they're going at it with their seal cocks. You could be doing recon. You know what I mean? Just you and your AK, and the only thing that'll be seen is your AK, because I don't know if it applies to metals and other surfaces, or other, I don't know if it works on wood. What kind of wood it does work on, you know what I'm saying, down there. If you want to rub it on your cock and be like, where's my cock? You can play that game with your partner. You could do that. If I were a chick, I'd put some of that invisibility dye in my cooch. I'd rub it in there. I'd get a whole lot of it in there. I'd climb on top of my dude. I'd ride him hard, like cowboy style. And then after I get off, the invisibility ink dye would have gone on his cock, and his cock would seem invisible, freak him out, make him think he doesn't have a cock anymore. Who's got your cock? And then the night before, prior to this evening or afternoon, I would have shoved a fake dildo resembling one that resembling very closely to the one that my dude has. And after I'd rubbed that invisibility dye on his cock, and he finished coming, he gets off, and he's like, "Oh my God, where's it?" And then whip out from further back inside you. I'd reach in there, I'd grab the dildo, I'd flash it right in front of him, freak out, I'd be like, "I got your cock now. Baby's got your cock now." I would do that. But unfortunately, or fortunately for everyone, I don't have a vagina, but there's an idea for the ladies. Trick or treat, Halloween's around the corner, April Fool's next year, everybody, you know what I mean? It's gonna be fun. But also, like, you wash it off, it comes off. You can totally regain your visibility. It's not like invisible unless, some freak accident goes wrong in the lab that's creating these invisibility food dyes. They put a little bit extra dosage in there. You're like invisible for a month. Well, that's when you can do crime. That's when you can, get in front of a camera and just fucking double flip the birds and just walk out the old bank vault with all $3,000 in your purse. So it'll be fun. This is amazing. I'm really happy to see that this is coming along. As a child, I used to daydream about being or having the ability to be invisible. It's one of those like, so would you want to fly, time travel, be invisible? It's one of those, it's a top 20 favorite things, to wonder about or like dream of having one day. And today's the future. We're that day. You're the day. Today's the day, is what they say. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is of course Friday. I remind you, it's the end of the weekend, it's the beginning of the weekend, so I hope you're all excited for the weekend. But before we get to the weekend, before we get it going, there is many of things that we all need assistance with and help with. And despite the fact that we don't get callers yet because there is no phone line that connects us so that you could potentially leave messages and ask questions so that your boy could answer it. Maybe there could be an email that I could do. These are all things that I think about, but at the same rate, I'm just like, come in there and just, give them a good time. We'll just do one teeny tiny step at a time. Don't push me, but also push me. I like being pushed and I like pushing. I like pulling too, I'm not gonna lie. I do like the good solid balance of pushing and pulling. But also, I came up with a thing that might be of use to everybody out there, because who amongst us has not had the thought of, oh man, I got a meeting and or somebody that I know, maybe you yourself or somebody you love or know has that meeting and they need to get out of that meeting. You need to cause an interruption to get them out of a meeting. This segment is called Interruption to Get Out of a Meeting. How to get out of a meeting. I would say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just, it depends. If we're just talking about you being on your own flying solo, doing it, and you don't have that backup to get you out of a meeting, let's go through some fun ideas that could help you potentially get out of a meeting. You're sitting in a boardroom, everybody's just, tossing ideas, the big boss is gonna show up, the portfolio's laid out on the table, the deals are gonna be discussed, but you need to interrupt a meeting. I would say whether or not, it doesn't even matter if the boss is there. Maybe he's already sitting there and he's already sipping on his coffee and he's already playing with his tie. He's coming around the table to ask for great ideas that are gonna quadruple the sales next month for this company, the global conglomerate company that you're part of, that you have a stake in. You have a stake in the company. You have a little barbecue on the side and you flip steaks on the side of the company. You got stakes in the company and people love your steaks, but they also got stakes in the company, which is odd because why would you have more than one person operating barbecue on the side of an office where it's like, whoa, we're not even supposed to have indoor barbecue. But it doesn't matter. You've all got stakes in the company and that's beautiful. But what I'll say is this, in order to interrupt, you could honestly start with clearing your throat. A couple of coughs. If if you can induce a couple of coughs, just get in there. And hopefully there's not any water in sight, so you could excuse yourself and be like, excuse me, I need to clear my throat, go get some water. That's one way of doing it. If there is water on the table and you need to interrupt the meeting for whatever, because you need to go, you need to go make a phone call because something's awry in this meeting and you need to sort it out and come back with a fresh idea. So you want to just, if there is water, whether there's a pitcher of water, whether there's glasses set on the table, you can easily, without using your hands, bump the knee underneath the table, shake the table, have a little bit of a spillage. But you got to be really still. Up top torso part has got to be super still, but a nice solid. If you do it fast and quick enough, nobody will be able to tell who actually knocked the table over, or at least partially over, where the water got knocked all around the place. And you've now got water on either your lap, the person next to you, the person across from you, and hopefully, if all goes right, you got some water on your boss's lap, which is complete. He's not built for that. He can't handle water on his crotchal area. You know what I mean? So those are two options. You could potentially, if you are, I would say if you're like, I can't leave, but I gotta interrupt. If you're a lady, start yawning. Just start yawning. But I advise you to wear a tight shirt so that as soon as you yawn and stretch your arms up and about, and as you're coming down, you want to have a loose button that just pops. It just pops right there. Maybe a couple of loose buttons, and all of a sudden, maybe if you work here right, maybe if you're not wearing like a good bra that day, maybe X-nay on the bra. You know what I'm talking about? It's casual Friday, no bra, or maybe just one of those like bras that just like kind of like lift from just like half a bra. I don't know what they're called, like half a bra. Barely even wants to be a bra. It's like a push-up bra, but not fully. It doesn't even cover the nips, or it just like kind of bangs everything together, but not really. It's just there for support, or if you need to like, catch yourself in an emergency where you need to use some clothing items as a zip line. So you could, I'd suggest again, loose buttons, pop it open, have a tit just fall out, and I think that'll interrupt the meeting for at least a good 5-10 minutes, and then you can excuse yourself. Walk out of the office, come back, tits intact, or not. It doesn't matter. Just take off your shirt at that point. Here it is, because this shirt is malfunctioning. So there seems to be, and I can't set it back to the default setting. This shirt is no good anymore. You can sit there, and that'll be wonderful. But what if you are on the outside? What if your loved one is in a meeting that you need to get out, that you need to help them get out of? I would suggest opening the door, and they say this is a confidential meeting, you're going to need to close, and you say this is an emergency, and try to come up with a good emergency. I would say walk in the boardroom and just give birth and be like, emergency, I need to see Sally over here. Just give birth in the meeting room. That's one way of doing it. Open the door and set yourself on fire. And say, hey, I need Sally for a second. If I could just excuse me. It seems to, and everybody's going, oh my God, this man's on fire. Sally, get out of here and help this man out. They'll say that. Open the boardroom door. Come and take a couple of steps in. I need you. This one's going to hurt a little bit, but dig in your eye socket and rip out your eyeball and just put it flat on the table and say, excuse me, I'm going to need to speak with Sally for a moment, if you will. There seems to be some sort of an emergency. Nobody's going to say nothing. If you rip an eyeball out, put it on the table and say, you need to speak with so-and-so and such for a minute, or may I have everybody's attention? Maybe you need to speak with everybody in the office. Those are just several ways of course, interrupting a meeting. It's always a good tool to have in your back pocket, because you never know. Oftentimes it's one of those things that you're like, I'm never going to need to excuse myself or anybody from a meeting, but trust me, after a certain little while, in your life, there's going to be meetings, and there are going to be some interruptions are going to be necessary. And if you're not out there training, because these things are not the things that they teach you or talk about in any setting, really, anywhere at all. No one tells you this. All right, ladies and gents, of course, I'll say this. that in order to be able to avoid a ticket, oftentimes we've come to realize that ladies have the upper advantage with tits, and when speaking with the opposite sex, if they get pulled over, whether it's speeding or they're about to park in a spot where they're not supposed to park, and all of a sudden the parking enforcement officer comes along and they're about to start writing a ticket. So if these ladies are working with the tits, we've now had enough evidence. We've now seen the tits at work in life. Oftentimes, if the male gaze catches them double D's, triple C's, quadruple B pluses, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe we don't need to write a ticket today, and you are nice enough to spend a few seconds or minutes tits out in his face, just saying, oh, well, of course, officer, I didn't mean to park here, or, oh, was I going 70 and a 50? Oh, I never do this. Oh, I'm sorry, I seem to be on my period today, and it's just these tits are hurting right now. And you could use any of those, which doesn't work all the time. It works sometimes, but even sometimes is better than no times, which is why I said to myself, why not take the technology of ladies and apply it to men's? Why shouldn't men have the same advantage of the tit? Which is why I like to introduce the all new and improved fake tits to help your mans, your boys, your guys get out of tickets, or at least give them a shot at getting out of a ticket every once in a blue moon. These fake tits could be sitting right next to you in the passenger seat. I've thought about this, and if you do get pulled over, whether you're going a little bit over speed or whether you are parking somewhere you're not supposed to park, as soon as the officer approaches you, I want you to grab the tits, nonchalantly slap it on your chest right there, and go about, to be very respectful, of course, whenever you're speeding. I do have a lot of great appreciation for law enforcement, the men's and women's in uniforms, you know what I'm saying? So, of all kinds, the ones that deal with fire, the ones that deal with 911 calls, which is also fire, but like paramedics, men's and women's in the uniforms that go to other places and do stuff when me and you are not there. I'm talking about like army people, army folk, people in uniforms in general, even a good handyman or woman or an electrician, or uniforms in general. What were we even talking about? Of course, we were talking about you getting out of a ticket if you happen to be a guy. And hey, ladies, even if you've got a pair of tits that works for you, I'm sure there's a fella in your life that that could actually use a little bit of extra help every once in a while if they should fall in a position where they need to negotiate getting out of a ticket. And again, fellas, as soon as the officer approaches you, it's always, of course, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. With all due respect, may I bring to your attention that these tits are just hurting today. So that'll help. Or if you're going to court, I'll say this, because if you are going to court and you're like, I'm a dude, but I wish I could use something to my advantage. Judges love two things, and I'm generally speaking, making a grand general statement, judges like two things, and Oreo cookies and tits. All judges across the spectrum, research has been done, male, female judges love Oreo cookies and tits. So if you're a fella, you're like, well, I don't have my own real one. Well, there you go. I just made fake tits for you to be able to slap on your chest and get in there, and it gives you a really good chance, like at least 1000x chance of getting out of it. The scale's out of 1,000,000, so it's a really low, but you'll still have a chance. And again, it's all about giving everybody at least some sort of an opportunity to present their case, because again, cases get presented, but if you've got no tits, oftentimes, in one ear out the other. So those are some of the advantages that I thought we could use to help each other out, elevate one another. They say the ship that's tiding raises all streams. A rising stream of the ship that rises in a tide system, which the tide that is rising in a ship that's on it has other ships in and around it. The ships it's wet out there if you're into shipping, and if you're into courier business, if you're into delivery, if the ship is not sinking and the tide is rising and there's it goes up, the ship goes up and down on the tide that is, exactly. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that there's many things that we could all be doing together, of course, and there you go. Those are some great advantages you could have in real life shit. Real life, you get out of a fucking meeting that you need to get out of. Fight a ticket that could be fought a little bit more efficiently. And next, let us skirt for a second. Shall we skirt? Because it's frickin' Friday. Yeah, let us do that. Oftentimes it's been, now let's give back to the ladies because we took one from them using their technologies. But let us now reverse the tables, create a little bit of equilibrium in this bitch, and get everybody happy. That's right, ladies. I'll never forget you. Right there. Men have been, it's been recorded, historically speaking, that men have obviously, different ways of, carrying themselves, and so do women, of course. There's certain obvious things, and there's non-obvious things, and of course it merges sometimes and whatnot. But one of the things that men do, and it's often been displayed in public and in private, is sitting. When men sit, you tend to open up the legs. You spread the legs. A few years back, we could all go back and remember there was a time where it just came into us. It's a beautiful thing that we've got, as more people got their hands on phones and recording devices, whether pictures or, moving images, the movies as they like to call them. A lot of things have been captured and it's been brought to our attention. A lot of things could be captured and brought to our attention, but that's one of the things that men tend to do, whether it's natural, innate, or a little bit nurtured, who knows. But one of the things that men do is the spreading of the old legs. When you sit down, I myself practice is nice. You spread it, it's a way to kind of be like, this is, it's kind of like the spreading of the leg, and women do it too, but but it's mostly like, again, generally speaking, men have larger frames. You open up the legs, you're taking up a little bit more. It is nice. It's basically, again, putting a claim to a spot temporarily. It's kind of like, it's the equivalent of cats and dogs pissing in certain regions. One of those things, or like my area, or at least a common area where others similar to me have come and asserted dominance. And that's when I said to myself, this shouldn't just be, of course, used by men. This should be used by women and everybody, young, old, wrinkled, ironed out, everybody. As soon as you sit down in a place, in order to establish and assert your dominance, so the trick is a lot of people go sit down and spread immediately. Wrong. You want to catch them by surprise. You want to sit down with your knees touching. That's the correct way to do it. You want to sit down, again, male, female, whatever you're deciding right now for the time being, doesn't matter. You sit down, knees touching. Little by little, in increments, you start spreading the knees far apart, and you start spreading. And as soon as you start spreading the knees, you will notice your levels of dominance will incrementally to increase, which is fucking scientific and astonishing, and it's actually baffling the scientific community at this moment. They don't know why, but it does that. But I said to myself, well, why stop at a little bit of spreading? What I want you to do is, because I want you to be fucking thriving in life and doing really well, and just really, and if everybody's doing well, everybody's just going to be, again, this is the tiding of the ships that sink, that the riding on the waves together. So when you sit down, spread little by little, but once you get, there's going to be a point where you reach and you're like, I cannot spread anymore. This is, you may have reached, maybe it differs for everybody depending on your flexibility. Of course, maybe you've gotten 75 degrees of spreading. I can't spread more. Maybe you got them tight hips. Maybe you got them, maybe you got them bionic hips. Maybe you're just working your back in. Maybe you can only open up to 90 degrees, maybe 110 degrees. Maybe you did a little bit of gymnastics or a little bit of ballet when you were younger, and you can do a split 180, just spread it open, 180, okay? Feet are now on opposite sides. Just feet spread opposite sides right there. Assert dominance. But a lot of people stop there. That's when you're like, I can't, I can only do the 180. I can only sit down and open my 180, and I think that's as much dominance as I'd like to have. I'll let that sit for a second while I get a sip. What if I told you could have more? What if I said there's way more beyond the 180? All I need you to do is sit down, stop limiting yourself, and say, what can I really do with these hips and legs? As soon as you get to your breaking point, push through it. Maybe have a metal or wooden bar, place it in your jaw, place it between your teeth, clamp down, and just reverse it, go all the way around. The goal is to assert dominance, so go all the way around, break your hips if need be. It will most likely actually break on first try. What you want to do is be able to eventually sit down, spread, but all the way around and do the whole full 360. If you sit there, torso still, legs rotating around you, 360, there is not a goddamn thing that you can't achieve in this life. There is not a thing that you cannot do in this life simply by, again, it might be a slight dislocation of the old hips. You might not be able to walk properly after, but for the time that you are sitting down, you are asserting yourself and you're letting people know, hey, this guy's here or this lady's here. Maybe you'll bleed a little bit. It's fine. It is fine. I bled my first time, and that's okay too. Means it's working. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what we do together. We give back to one another, because the rising ship that sinks the ship, with the tide that's coming in, you can wash your clothes with it. In other events, in global events and national headlines, international, intercontinental champion headlines of the world, globally speaking, that is, Hunter Biden is now pleaded guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, we're skirting once again. He's pleaded guilty to, I believe, some tax evasion charges. I like to take this moment, this portion of the podcast, this portion of the show, this portion of what it is, and just say, we're going to dedicate the next little while to stories of perhaps reaching maybe a bottom of sorts, hitting it, bouncing back up, having some sort of a redemption arc, if you will, and then thriving after that. I read this and I don't know much about anything and I don't know much about anyone, to be honest with you. I want to know more about more stuff, but I don't, and it hurts, but it's okay, because that's life. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, Hunter Biden, the son of the president that's now stepped aside, the replaced situation, again, things that I'm not fully aware of, whatever, all right? But this, I want to take a second to defend Hunter Biden. It's far to, I think Hunter Biden, I'll say this, he's a misunderstood wild boy, is what that is. Hunter Biden, the hashtag free Biden, Hunter Biden, that is. What did he do? What did he do that you and I wouldn't do if we were in his literal shoes, if we were in his literal skin, if you were in his literal body? I don't know the specifics of what he's done in the past. He's a man in his 50s. The dad was the president, son of the president. Hunter Biden will probably go down as actually one of the best sons of presidents in terms of like wild boy son presidents. And we're not going to have too many of those in the future. We're not going to have too many. I'm telling you right now, we have lost our way of enjoying and appreciating wild boys and wild gals out there. Because what did he do? At one point, okay, let's break some of the things that we have kind of a rough idea what he showed. At one point, he showed an appreciation for guns. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if there were images of guns on a laptop. I don't know if there was a laptop resting on a gun. I don't know if he was wielding a gun in a video. I don't know if he wields a gun on his own. I don't know. The question that I asked is, did he shoot somebody? did he take shots at anybody physically with a gun? And according to my understanding, no, I don't think that Hunter Biden has shot anybody. So there you go. I think he's got a healthy appetite for guns. He eats as much guns as you and I would eat on a regular basis. So there is that. Other things that he's allegedly been doing. They say that he's potentially had, he likes luxury cars. He likes luxury cars, fam. Which one of us doesn't like luxury cars? I could eat a luxury car right now. I could eat 2 luxury cars right now. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I ate 3 luxury cars right before this podcast, as a matter of fact, and I'm gonna shit out a whole ton of iron after this show. But so he has an appreciation for guns, luxury cars. What else does he do? What else does he like? Luxury hotel stays. Staying at luxury hotels. Which one of us doesn't like luxury hotels? I'm telling you right now, I will build a luxury hotel. I will build 5 luxury hotels. Not right now, but I will. Don't stop me. And guess what? If I don't build it, I'll maybe rent a room. I'll rent a room one day, and I'll stay in a luxury hotel, and I'll spread my legs 360 to assert dominance for no one. So I'll probably be by myself, but that's tight because I bet there's a ton of mirrors in that luxury hotel. So if maybe with the right frame of mind, I might catch myself off guard for a second. I'd be like, who's there? And I'll quickly remember that it's only me. But hey, the point is that he has an appetite for the goods. Luxury cars, yes. Luxury hotels, yes. What else has he done? He's paid for strippers. He has paid for strippers. He is helping. One, he's helping the economy. He's helping the economy, all right? There are ladies and sometimes men's where that's their line of work, and work is work, and it's better than not working. And it's your body, your choice, and bodily autonomy. So if it's done through paying somebody if it's done to give somebody a chance at perhaps bettering themselves, or maybe that's just their favorite thing to do. Who are you and I to sit here and judge and be like, they shouldn't, because I don't want. But if there's I'm gonna look, but I'm not gonna like it, or I'll like it, but I'm not gonna verbally say it in front of anybody. And everybody likes tits and ass, and everybody likes wiener too. So it's what do we do? So he likes guns. I like guns. You like guns. He likes cars. We have cars. You and I have cars. We've been in cars. We appreciate a car. Hotels. Who doesn't like a place that they don't own that they could stay in? Everybody loves a place that they can stay in but they don't own. Those hotels, out of our desire to stay at places that we don't own, we went and invented a whole new realm of subgenre hotels called Airbnb, an app on you. People love not only living in places that they don't own, but also lending out their places of residence to people who like to come and live. So not only do we like to go to places that we don't own and live in there for a moment, we like to lend out our places of residence temporarily to others who enjoy sitting at our place of residence for a little while and doing a little bit of free dick. You know what I'm talking about? So I will say this, up until now, these are things that I can relate to, and most of us out there could probably relate to as well. What other things has he done? Okay, his dad, former president, stepped aside, pushed aside. Who knows? I'm not here to discuss that. At one point, the man had a laptop. A beautiful man had a laptop, ended up somewhere for some repair work. Things got leaked at one point. Questions were asked as to whether or not him and his father are involved with questionable, foreign governments, maybe getting paid, maybe doing business, fraudulent business. And you know what? And you know what? Can we I think a lot of this, I think he might be getting a little bit of heat because there's just like, we all want the same things. We all literally want the same things with, again, minor little adjustments of the details of how we like those things, or to what degree we like those things, or how much of those things, or what variation of but we pretty much all like the same things, give or take. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm not talking about like the extreme anomalies out there that everybody's like liking the same thing, and then there's just like one guy or one gal like, oh, for me. I'm talking about the things that we all enjoy. And yes, everybody enjoys business and money and rubbing shoulders with whoever and greasing elbows and pockets. And at the end of the day, it's money that brings people together. So he was just, again, if you were in his skin, his position, powerful father for a long time, been party upper echelons of society, rubbing shoulders and elbows and cocks with the, societally, air quotes, elite, at least financially, have some sort of, in there with the powers and the statuses and all that. You and I would probably do some things too, to step outside the shadows of our fathers and do a little, or help with mitigating a couple of business deals. And some of those business deals might not be great business deals. But the point of this is not to come and say that he shouldn't or should have done more business deals that may or may not have been sketchy at the time that his father was serving. The thing is that the father's gone now. We got other issues to talk about. And the thing is that it's been done. It's done. And it's done. The thing is that we shouldn't always, because it's easy to just be like, put him away and the thing is, what else did he do? Okay, so he had some bad business deals. Everybody makes mistakes. You've had some bad business deals. All your business deals have gone 100% perfect? All your business, you dealt businessly all the time. How you're batting 100% all the time. You've met all the right people with the right connections all the time. What else did he do? He evaded taxes. That one is just like, which one of us wouldn't want to pay less taxes or avoid taxes? I personally would want to never pay tax. If it were up to me, I'd never pay my taxes. But I do each and every year. And it hurts. It hurts. God, it hurts. Which one of us would not want to avoid? That's my relationship with taxes. I would like to, if I see any other time aside the time of the year, the month of the year it's like tax season, outside, if I see taxes on the streets, I don't know you. Get out of my face space, tax man. If I see taxes walking down the street and if it trips and falls and like I'm there to help, I'm not gonna. All right, fine, I'll help because if I'm the only one there, I wish there was somebody else there. But if I'm the only one, fine. But I'll tell you what, if I'm at a party and taxes at a party, and there's other people and things at the party, I'm not going to be the first one that's going to go up to taxes and be like, what up, taxes? You know what I mean? If it's like raining, pouring down really, really hard out, so cats and dogs, literal cats and dogs, which is freaky. Not like the expel. I'm talking literal cats and meow, meow, just a bloodbath of cats and dogs. If I see taxes, stranded and it's pouring cats and dogs, like, hey, give me a ride. I wouldn't want to. I want to be avoiding. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna throw a party and invite taxes. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna show up to tax's funeral and give it a eulogy that's all positive. You know what I mean? I'll come in there with a few jabs because, again, hurts every year. So he avoided paying taxes for a while. He'll pay it now. What's all this talk of putting people behind bars? Schmars. Thing is, it's been done in the past. Thing is, what about forgiveness? What about redemption? What about not judging people so harshly? And the things that, again, we all like to think, we wouldn't want to do. How much of the decisions that he's made would you have not made were you in his exact position? Maybe you wouldn't have done some of the things. Maybe you would have done some of the things that maybe you wouldn't have done some of the things that he's done, but you probably would have done some of the things at least he's done. Maybe you would have like maybe you wouldn't have like swallowed a gun. Maybe you'd have gotten a couple of strippers. Maybe you'd have gotten a couple of extra strippers. Maybe you wouldn't have done tax evasion. Maybe you would have gone in bed with taxes. Maybe you would have gone in bed with taxes and gotten some extra strippers. Maybe you would have done that. Maybe you would have gotten some luxury hotels, but then maybe you would have like went down to some like rundown, motels as well. Maybe you would have done that. But give or take, if you were in his position or anybody else's position, is what I'm trying to say. So it's a story that I like to take this time and be like, you know what? Biden he's done. He's out of here. We got other things on the horizon. This, if anything, and what else does he do? Why don't we pay attention to the positives of the things that he does? He does art. He's an artist, a fellow artiste of sorts. And his paintings are doing really well, or I've heard. I don't actually know. Maybe they're not doing as well as he'd like them to. Why don't we let him get back to his thing? Why don't we just fine him a fine? However much he owes, let's slap some interest on it. But all this time behind bars, we're not gonna send. You don't want the president's son, probably the wildest president's son we've had in some time. Not gonna have him in prison. What kind of, you know what I'm saying? So like, and again, really wild, fun times, good, wholesome, fun times. Not like some other royal family children. You remember Uday and Kusei wasn't fucking running around the streets, pushing females into his car or nothing, allegedly. I wasn't there, but that's what happened apparently. So he's not doing any of that. He's hiring people for good money, having a good time, and do a little bit of hard drugs, which is nice. I'm not into it, but I get it to a certain degree. So why don't y'all just lay off Hunter Biden for a second? Let be bygones be by. What happened to water under the bridge? What happened to the tide of the ships that's gone into the ship and there's a hole and you need to get buckets to put the water out of it? Because these tides are, the ship that goes off into the sunset comes back from the sunset. What happened to that saying? Redemption. Forgiveness. Tits. Of course, that's not the only story that deserves potentially a little bit of just understanding, a little bit of just looking at it from another perspective. But of course, a similar story, one which has similar themes, which caught my eyes, went on my radar, I went beep, 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 tits. Anna Sorokin, aka Anna Delvey, if I'm not mistaken. Who is this femme? Who is this femme running buck wild all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast? Who is this? I read recently that Anna Sorokin, aka Anna Delvey. Apparently, I'm not too familiar with the story. I've not kept up. Maybe I did a little while ago, but there's so many things happening all the time. Who knows? But just to recap, who Anna Delvey is, or was, or Anna Sorokin rather, a Russian-born femme. Russian-born. One point she moves with her family to the Germanias, Germany, and then from then on she grows up to become what is known as we like to call in our society, a con artist. She went on to become a con artist. She conned people, apparently is what she did. She partied with, I guess she presented herself to be another person, like a socialite of sorts. Again, getting in touch with, rubbing elbows with the, again, societally air-coded elite, the powerful, the rich, whether they were friends, business acquaintances of sorts, and she conned them. I'm guessing out of money, because that's what most people would get into, it's sex and money. So, and she's femme, so probably the money, the latter, I would say. So she got, she impersonated or maybe made herself to be somebody that she wasn't. She was essentially, this is what happened. She swindled. That's what I realized she did. She swindled people out of money, lied a little bit, maybe a lot, pretended she's something that she's not, got some monies, did some shady business deals. And I don't know what happened. The rest of it is apparently she got some time or something along those lines. And I don't know the gist of it, to be honest with you, because I didn't get deep look into it because I just felt like apparently she's on some sort of, I don't know what, if she's got house arrest or so, I don't know, but she's allowed to go places, and she has an ankle bracelet. The reason why I know about all this is because I just recently found out that she's going to be dancing with the stars in this coming season's Dancing with the Stars. She's going to be dancing with the stars. And this is a beautiful story. This is a beautiful story, and again, it's one of those stories that touches me, that touches you. It's again one of those stories that people, again, going down, coming back, doing a redemption, thriving beyond that. And us as a people, as a species, wanting for one another, for all of us, wanting for one another to hit bottom at one point or another in some variation of sorts, have a redemption, and then thrive after as well. What a beautiful life story. What a beautiful, wonderful life story that could be. So what did she do? She pretended she was something that she wasn't. So what? She got into some bad business deals. So what? She got into some fake business deals. She got money from people with warts. Did she kill anyone? No. Did she? If anything, what I've learned is that she just got, again, put yourself in that person's skin. Walk in their skin, they say. Walk a mile in a person's skin, they say, as the old saying goes. I would say if she had the opportunity to probably pursue some sort of acting career, she probably would have she probably would have been good. She probably would, because you got to be decent to be able to swindle, for people to even use that term with you, swindler, to be able to con artist, conning people. So you got some sort of ability to, portray yourself in a light. And you extracted money, power, time from people while all the time you're somebody like you. So that, to me, that says that this person has had, like everybody, they had something going on for, but again, wrong way of channeling it, essentially, or at least societally wrong. But even in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, everybody's out there hustling. Everybody's out there putting on a show. Everybody's out there getting that dinero. Everybody's out there getting that cheddar. Everybody's out there in a business deal. Everybody's out there selling themselves and buying things simultaneously. So ladies and gentlemen, this lady's got an ankle bracelet on her feet, on her ankles, and she's going to be dancing with the stars. Personally, I'm super happy to see her dancing with the stars. I think this is a beautiful, potentially, again, it's a story that could be, I believe there have been stories. I believe they even made a documentary about her. Making of Anna or something. I've not seen it. But regardless, a good story, because it's like, most of the people we admire, they've done everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Some of your favorite rappers out there, some mistakes were made. Wonderful people, national, global, international treasures now. And that's just one example, because that's like close to my heart. But other times, athletes, some of your favorite athletes, whatever. Redemption arc, thriving after, getting into different businesses. Sure, would I have liked to seen her maybe work her way up to Dancing with the Stars? Yes, of course. I would have definitely liked to see her do a season of Dancing with the Scars. It's a show where people dance with either people that have scars or just large, human-sized scars. Sure, maybe I would have liked to see her dance with the SARS. It's a show where people have SARS, or it's just you dancing with the virus SARS. Just ballroom dancing and, fucking yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, turn that hip upside down, inside out. Let's do it. The point is, but it doesn't matter. She's here right now. She's going to be dancing with the star. I'm super happy for the redemption arc story. And again, this is a time to remember that we all, something, ships, tides, water. Yes. I would like to see her advance in this Dancing with the Stars competition. Eventually, I want her final dance routine, I forget her partner's name. I want them to finish by doing a final move, and then I want that final move to be dance, revolute, and then I want the ankle bracelet too, because she hits a dance move, moonwalks Ankle bracelet just fucking flings off into some judge's face. The judge gets knocked out, ratings go high. She's free as a bird now. And she gets picked up to go do other shows and other things in life. And she could have her own brand of ankle bracelets. That could be one of her merch. Every one of us should be so lucky to have our own merches out there. Of course, it's good to go with something that's authentic to you. In her case, the ankle bracelet will make a great, it doesn't have to be forever, but one of those things that people are like, what's she doing right now in her life? Ankle bracelets, fam. You can get the Anna Sorkin ankle bracelet to put on yourself or your kids or your, lover or your pets or your parents, that your elderly parents who you're like, man, you shouldn't be going anywhere. Let's lock you down. You know what I'm saying? So let us remember that we all like similar things, pretty much, give or take. Let us position ourselves into each other's skin for once, even if it's hard to actually get, but let us try, because again, the ship that's on water is always floating. Until next time, peace out.